With another coalition MP, the National Party frontbencher Damien Drum, announcing his retirement today, and with another Cabinet Minister, Alan Tudge, stood aside and under extreme pressure not to come back, whatever happens in next year's election, it's going to be a new-look government. But what I think we need more than just personnel changes after 2 years of a pandemic is a new-look country, or at least a country with new hope and a fresh start after 2 years of anxiety, disruption, deprivation of normal freedoms to live and move, and constant lectures from government at all levels about what we can and can't do. 12 months ago, as we went into Christmas last year, most of us thought, I know I did, as a country, we'd had a pretty good pandemic. We'd largely avoided the deaths, Melbourne aside, that the rest of the world had suffered, and we'd largely avoided the lockdowns too, again, for our Melbourne out of that, but at least there are only 2 lockdowns at that stage. In economic terms too, this time last year, we'd really only stopped for 1/4. With vaccines on the way, I think we all felt 2021 was going to be a hell of a lot different than the year we've just lived through. How wrong we were and how differently it all turned out. So how did you feel this Christmas, do you think? Listening to a lot of people over the last few weeks, I think the mood is much more subdued, with worries still about lockdown-obsessed, restrictions-obsessed state governments. I know a lot of people are worried about their kids struggling with mental health issues, older people too. Businesses trying to get back on their feet, worried about shortages in their supply chains, cash flow and staff, and many of us still separated from those we love by closed borders. As a nation, there's no doubt we're fed up, probably a little bit cranky, wanting to put it all behind us, but not sure whether we ever really will, or get our freedoms back. And all the old problems, they're still there, aren't they? The climate wars that haven't been settled, because we all know that unreliable wind and solar can't run an economy, and we can't be sure that batteries or hydrogen will ever work to scale, yet governments, they won't even contemplate nuclear power. We know too, with our $1 trillion debt bomb, that governments can't keep spending borrowed money forever. There doesn't seem to be much political will to find savings or to make the economy more productive. Whenever the government's legislation seems to meet a problem in the parliament, from the crossbenchers or within its own ranks, it's not fought to victory or defeat, but simply just pulled the bill, withdrawn the legislation, because it doesn't seem to be any stomach for a fight anymore in the coalition. And just when we thought there was at least one minister prepared to take a stand against an incorrigibly politically correct national curriculum, well, he's been felled by a personal issue. And now that battle too is presumably lost. Yet despite all of this, we know what a wonderful country we have, don't we? And what a fine people Australians are, and how much we are at our best, inventive, resourceful, inclined never to give up, or settle for something we all know is far from ideal. We just need to see more of us at our best in the coming year, especially in our public life. I hope the next election is a real contest, but a contest about policy and the country's direction, not about personalities. The last thing we need is months of campaigning against, in Labor's latest phrase, the liar from the Shire. That demeans both the accused and the accuser. And even if it succeeds, it doesn't take us any closer to being a better country with a stronger government and policies that set us up for the future. I hope Labor will not get through an election campaign without being forced to tell us what their real agenda is. And it won't be just more spending and bigger government, because we all know that it's much easier to spend money than make a difference. And I hope the government too will tell us, beyond modest tax cuts, I presume, what its agenda for a 4th term is too, and convince us it's actually prepared to fight for it. Presumably, religious freedom, again, I would presume there. I'd want to hope a strategy for a civil nuclear power industry, back to basics on the school curriculum, maybe, just maybe, sensible immigration levels and a stronger defence posture as China becomes more dangerous. Hopefully, it'll be a campaign with a contest, not a whimper. Policies for the next decade, not just to win votes for tomorrow and big spending to buy off the various lobby groups. There's no doubt we should be proud of the way we've all survived the pandemic and be proud of our government's hard work here as well, but Successful countries don't just survive, they flourish. Who and what will best help us to succeed in the years ahead? Well, that's a challenge for both of the major parties, and as my Christmas wish tonight, I want to hope it will be the politics of hope, not division, or low rent personal attacks that win out next year.